podcast.
And are we recording now? Should we be recording now?
Yeah, folks are coming in. Do you want to turn off our cameras?
I'm good.
Oh, I'll put up the presentation since we are being recorded. That could be the wait screen.
Sounds good.
Hi, everyone. Congratulations on your acceptance to Boston University. My name is Jade. I'm one of the presenters for today on understanding your financial aid package. I see that more students are logging on for this presentation, so we will wait a few more minutes to allow for those folks to come in, and then we'll get started. In the meantime, you can drop questions in the Q&A section Any questions that you may have, you can start putting them in now, and we can either integrate them during the presentation or we can answer them during at the end of the presentation. Thanks. Okay, let's get started. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Jade, and I'm here with my colleague, Ken, and we're both from the Office of Financial Assistance here at Boston University. Congratulations on your admission to Boston University. We're excited that you have been accepted and are thinking about enrolling here at BU. Today, we'll be speaking about understanding your financial aid package. As I mentioned a few minutes beforehand, in case you just joined our meeting, we do have a question and answer session, and we'll answer questions at the end of the presentation. But while questions arise in this presentation, you're welcome to drop them in the chat below. And Ken will hop on and answer questions as he's able to, and we can also address questions at the end of the presentation. So first question is, how can you view your award? So that will be located on your MyBU portal, and it'll be located in the financial aid tab, which you can see circled dynamically here. So just go on your MyBU portal and make sure you click on financial aid. And then in the financial aid decision box in the lower left, that is where you click to see the financial aid decision made on your application. As a reminder, complete financial aid applications are FAFSA and CSS profile. So if we have those two applications on hand, an aid offer has been made. And if you don't see that an aid offer has been made, you should reach out to us to see if perhaps there was a loading issue with your application. So what is a financial aid offer? What is financial aid? Financial aid consists of multiple parts. It is one part scholarship offers for either need-based aid or merit-based aid. It is student loans are a form of financial aid, and that is part of the formula. Federal grants And federal loans are also a form of financial aid that you can use towards the cost of attendance. Work study is an offer from the federal government, which allows you to earn some resources, some funds that you could then use towards your lived experiences, expenses on campus. And all these things together can constitute a financial aid offer. We receive a lot of questions from chancellor admins around working on campus and also working on campus too. And our office has resources that we can direct you towards. The Student Employment Office is in the same building as Financial Assistance. It's 881 Com Ave, second floor when we are back on campus. And you can check out their opportunities. They have a website, which is www.bu.edu/SEO for Student Employment Office. They post opportunities for work study eligible positions and also for non-work study eligible positions. The difference between those two positions is that work study awards, you have a bit of funding that has been awarded by the federal government that you can tap into throughout the year. So some students might have a $1,500 or $2,000 work study offer, and they can earn up to that amount during the academic year. Non-work study positions, those are each individual university department has their own budget that they then select students to pay directly from. So more information on their website, and we're happy to discuss that with you. You may have noticed that your financial aid offer says tentative. What that means is that we have not gone through the confirmation process just yet. So all students who are incoming first year or transfer students receive a tentative aid offer until we complete our review of your tax returns and W-2s and any other information that might be required in order to confirm your aid offer. Typically, students do not see adjustments in their aid offer. It's really helpful that the FAFSA has the IRS data retrieval tool now. So if you use that, you can feel confident that your aid offer is going to remain the same. So what will BU cost you? The $100,000 question. Maybe not $100,000 question. So your financial aid award, when you review it and you review the award that has been given to you, you want to look at your grant offer, if you have a loan offer, a work study offer, or any other types of aid that you have been given, and you want to subtract that from the cost of attendance. So as the slide points out, the cost of attendance at Boston University is $77,662 for this upcoming academic year. That includes the standard tuition rate of $56,854, room and meal plan or board. Those figures there are the standard prices, but we do understand that some students might choose a lower cost meal plan or a higher cost meal plan, lower or higher residence hall option, and that would allow for then that price to vary. But this price here is the standard cost. Fees and other expenses brings you to $77,662. So the difference between that number and your financial aid offer made is the out-of-pocket costs that you and your family will need to address. We do have a really helpful planning calculator on our website so that you can break down those costs even better and have a full understanding of what your expense out of pocket will be. In this example that we've created, we've put in that a standard room option with waiving the health insurance, which is a determination, something you should decide between you and your family based on your current health options and health coverage. But let's say that your family's employer does provide health insurance that covers you, and you select that you do not need the BU health insurance plan, and that you're choosing to reject the sports pass, then the billed expenses would be $75,27. If you then take that and subtract a aid offer here in this example, the student is receiving $35,000 aid offer between scholarships and grants, and also $5,000 that the student is planning for in a private scholarship that they know about. Then their total cost of attendance minus the aid offer would yield a remaining balance of $40,027. That would be the out-of-pocket expense at Boston University. So we invite you to use the planning calculator. The link is there, www.bu.edu/finade/aid-basics/plan. When you are planning for the cost of attendance at BU over the 2 to 4 years that you might be at BU, depending on how many transfer credits you have, we want you to make a holistic decision. Historically, tuition and fees at BU have risen about 3.5% or so each year. So just keep that in mind as you're making a financing plan with you and your family. The good news is that BU offers scholarship assurance for the aid offers that are made to students that have been accepted. And once their aid offers are confirmed, that aid offer is guaranteed for up to 8 semesters. This includes if you are transfer admit. So let's say that initially with your credit evaluation that you only need 4 semesters at BU, but then maybe you need an additional 5th semester. That's still within the 8 semesters of total aid eligibility for your BU need-based awards. But I do want to caution that if you used federal aid at your previous institution, there are limits to that. So you could find yourself in a position, if you are doing that, that you might need to do some planning. So make sure that you are contacting us if you believe that it'll take you a bit longer to finish your studies here at BU. Awards are automatically renewed without having to do the FAFSA and the CSS profile. The BU Need-Based Aid Award is renewed. However, if you know that you will need federal aid, so federal grants, federal loans, please renew the FAFSA each year. Our priority deadline for continuing students is March 1st of each year. Credit-based loans are a popular topic, and I see in the question and answer chat that some students have asked about credit-based loans. We will not automatically add a credit-based loan onto your account. So credit-based loan, that terminology is just another way of saying a private loan, whether it's from a bank or from an organization that does student lending. BU does not automatically add that. We also don't automatically add Parent Plus loans, which is the federal parent loan offer available for students. However, we do have a resource on our website where you can look at our most popular vendors and the products that we most often work with students. And you can then from there see what a timeline for applying for a loan looks like, what options exist for products. There are loans that only have just a student being the main borrower, and they might have a co-signer or co-borrower that is their parent or another relative. There are also products that the parent is the main borrower and they themselves might have a co-signer or a co-borrower in order to strengthen their application. So we know you have a lot of questions about loans, so we can answer more of the specifics at the end of this chat, but we do have a lot of resources on our website. So please go to the link mentioned here, bu.edu/finaid/types of aid, loans, and credit-based loans. Let's say you are looking at your financial aid package and you believe that you can document additional circumstances that haven't been addressed in your financial aid package and you believe that you qualify for more aid. You can appeal for additional aid consideration on our website. If you go to our request for financial aid reconsideration page, which is the link here mentions it, bu.edu/finaid/apply/special circumstances/reconsideration. We have instructions for students. It is a standardized form that students are asked to fill out. And then there's additional information that we ask for. We ask for the income verification documents that I mentioned earlier in this presentation, such as your 2018 federal tax returns and W-2s. We'll ask you to add that. And then you take all of those things, you upload it to the MyBU portal for our review. Priority deadline for transfer admits to submit an appeal of their financial aid award is May 15th, so that we have enough time in our office to review your circumstances, review your tax returns, and have an answer for you before the June 1st deposit enrollment deadline. So if you are wanting to do this, and please take care of it this weekend so that we can receive your documentation and we can review your case and be as considerate as possible to your circumstances. I saw that there was a question in the chat around COVID-19 and family being impacted by this. On the appeal form, that is one of the options that you can mark. You can check off that you've been impacted by the COVID-19 crisis, and you can let us know how that has impacted your family's finances. And if we're able to make adjustments to your aid offer based on your circumstances, we will do so. To upload the appeal form, you go to the MyBU portal, and you will see a section where you can upload documents. Make sure you just select financial aid for the document that you're uploading an appeal, and then you can attach the document at hand. For best practices for this, make sure that the file is no bigger than 25 megabytes. For tax returns, if you can make sure they're all in one document and not 18 individual documents for each page, that would be very helpful for our office. So if you can make sure that they're all together in one document. We do have a preference for PDFs and Word documents over some of the other types, but we can open JPEGs if you're in a situation where you don't have a scanner, and the best thing you can do to get tax returns is to take pictures of it and upload it. We can look at those too. Just make sure it's high resolution so that we can zoom in and see what it's reporting. So next steps. So if you have a question, you can sign up for a virtual open house meeting with financial aid representatives. I happen to be the manager of students with last names CM to GO. So if you find yourself with the second half of the C last names through Gonzalez, Gomez, I am the manager of your financial aid account. So you can see that we are here to meet with families and students. You can make a virtual appointment through the MyBU portal, and that will allow you to meet us. The next open house that we're having for transfer admits is on May 12th. And our website has lots of resources for creating and for listing out your planning for your finances. So we encourage you to go through that through the month of May. By June 1st, make sure to submit your enrollment deposit, and that is $650. We recommend that you do so online through the MyBU portal instead of sending a paper check, just because operations are limited now during this COVID-19 crisis. It might take a little longer to process a check through the mail, so please make the payment online. And through the summer, we will ask students for income verification documentation if you haven't already submitted it during an appeal or another circumstance. And we'll ask you for those copies of those tax returns and W-2s. So if that is something that you're not sure, you and your family are not sure where you put it, you can start looking for it, since we will ask you for that documentation. We also have a monthly payment plan and literature again on our credit-based loans that you can take advantage of and look at the timeline for applying for a private loan. Typically students apply in July for fall loans, and typically November, December for spring loans if they're only doing one semester of loans. But if you're doing the full year, it's easier to do that application process in July when you have the finalized bill. Again, our next virtual open house is on May 12th. Some of you might have an appointment booked for tomorrow. That one is fully booked. But in case you're not booked for that one, we still have openings on the May 12th open house. And I will be there, Ken will be there, we'll all be there to answer your questions. So please sign up if you have any individual questions that you'd like to ask. But I will encourage you that if you're thinking of appealing your financial aid offer, to take care of that this weekend before the open house so that we can start to receive that documentation beforehand. And with that, thank you so much for your being here and being a part of this webinar. Again, our website is bu.edu/finaid, and we recommend that you go check out our Smart Money 101 website, which I'm a member of the Smart Money 101 team that does outreach and financial literacy education here at BU. That's bu.edu/smartmoney101. We are going to continue to hang out and answer questions. And I know some questions have been answered in the chat, but I can also address them over video. Okay. And so will Ken.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. I would like to jump right in now and start with some of these great questions that we have in our Q&A. I think the first one here we hit up just now on the presentation. Question is, one of my parents lost their jobs as a result of the pandemic. How should I approach the financial aid appeal? I'd say give us as much information as you can about your family's financial circumstances, what has changed in your appeal request, and if you have any supporting documents that you think could help in your appeal, feel free to upload those as well, and we'll be happy to look at that. Like Jade mentioned, there is a specific checkbox on our appeal form that references the pandemic. You can check that off and then give us any additional background information that you think would be important for us to know about, and we'll be happy to look into that all for you. Review all appeals on a case-by-case basis, and we encourage you to hit us up with an appeal request if you feel like your circumstances have changed since you filed your aid applications, or if you feel like there's something in your family's financial circumstances that aren't really reflected in the FAFSA and profile application. So I hope that answers your question. If you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to drop that in our Q&A here. Next question we have: recommendations for private loan companies where parents aren't the co-signers. I'd be happy to answer this question. I don't want to hog all the time here. Jade, would you?
we can alternate if you want.
Sure. Okay.
So, recommendations for private loan companies. So we are not allowed to give you a recommendation for a private loan, and that is because we want to remain as neutral as possible in providing our counseling. However, our website does list the most popular vendors that students and parents borrow from. So you'll see lots of the popular names of large international banks and large student loan servicing corporations on our website. So again, if you go to bu.edu/finaid, you'll see that loans and financing options is an option towards the top. And from there, you can look at our most popular vendors that we work with. And what happens during our private loan, in case you did not know, is when you apply and are approved for the loan, they communicate with us to confirm that you're an enrolled student at Boston University. And then we certify that loan and say, yes, the student is here. This is what their cost of attendance is at this college. We can allow this amount of loan to come in to address X amount of remaining dollars. But if you have any more questions, let us know. But we do have that list there on our website that just is the popular names that we work with.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Jade. Okay, next question. What are some loan companies that are from the federal government for students? Okay, this is a great question. I think a good point of clarification and distinction about what are federal loans, what are private loans, and how that all works. When you apply for financial aid at Boston University, you're completing 2 financial aid applications to apply for as much aid as we can possibly set you up with. First application is the FAFSA application. The second application is the CSS profile application. Now, we use that FAFSA application to figure out how much federal financial aid we can set a student up with, and that includes federal student loans. So we have awarded a student just about all of the federal student loans that we can up front in their initial financial aid award. There is one additional federal student loan that a student may pursue separately from the initial financial aid application, and that is called the Parent Plus loan. Like the name would imply, the Parent Plus loan is a loan that is under the parent's name, but it is for the student's education. So the parent would apply for it for the student, and then we would process that application in office. There's a credit check that goes hand in hand with that plus loan application, and if the parent borrower is approved, we'll be able to award that student that additional federal loan that the parent has applied for there. That's really the extent of the federal student loans a student would access. You do have to complete the FAFSA initially to qualify for whatever federal direct loans you're eligible for up front. And then if you are interested in other federal loans, the only other one is that PLUS loan. Any other loan that you'll be looking for there beyond those federal loans or private student loans. And we have a lot of information on our website that can get you started when you're looking into different loan options. Again, I hope that answers your question, but if you have any follow-up questions about federal loans versus private loans, please feel free to drop that in our Q&A box here. Thanks.
Thanks, Ken. I'll take on the next question, which is around if financial aid will be negatively impacted next year due to the coronavirus. That's a great question. There are definitely a lot of unknowns about next academic year, if we'll be on campus or not, and other things that will be decided upon by Boston University leadership. But I can tell you that, again, our BU scholarship assurance assures that any aid that we do give you that is BU gift aid is guaranteed to you for up to 8 semesters. So we have made, when we set up our financial aid budget, we account for students being awarded that aid for the next 8 semesters of assistance. So feel confident that that part will remain the same. In regards to federal financial assistance, I can't speak on that because that is, determined by the Department of Education and what they might set out for following academic years. However, the Pell Grant has been in assistance for 50 years now. So it's been a stable fund. Direct loans have been a part of financial aid packages for something like 30 plus years or so. So these have been aid that has been continually renewed throughout the years during previous situations, whether they were political or economic or climate related. So I feel confident that that part will remain the same and it'll keep following that schedule. However, if something were to change, the university will communicate that to all students, and then there'll be time for you to also make an appointment with your financial aid director to be able to discuss your concerns.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jade. Next up, how does work study work if a student works more during the year? Do they receive more money? That's a great question. So when we award work study to a student, we award a set amount that the student can earn during the course of the academic year. So if your work study award is $1,000, that is the maximum amount that you will be able to initially earn through your work study job for the year. If you work less than, if you have a part-time job and you earn less, you're not able to earn enough to earn that full amount, you'll just earn what you can through the work study program there. So if you only have time to work enough so that you earn, say, $800 of that $1,000 award, that's how much that you will get. Think of the work study award as just like any other part-time job that you would have. The money that you have through this program does not credit to your student account. That goes directly into your pocket via a regular weekly paycheck. So there's a cap on how much you can typically earn. Typically that amounts between $1,000 and $2,000 for the entire academic year. I hope that helps.
And the pay rate is starting at the Massachusetts minimum wage rate, which is almost 15. It's a 14 something, 13 something. You can look it up online with the Massachusetts minimum wage laws. But I know it's higher than what many students are currently eligible for in their respective states. Next question. If an appeal has been sent in to financial aid, how long does it take on average to receive an answer? Good question. Our typical response window is 1 to 2 weeks. So 1 to 2 weeks from when you have submitted. This is because we have thousands of documents that come into our office through email, through the portal, through fax, through snail mail. And it takes our team quite a bit of time to just organize all the documents that have been received, to then forward them to the assistant directors who will make decisions on the aid offer, and for us to then sit down and holistically review every petition, and we might reach out to you to ask additional follow-up questions. So when you do submit your appeal, just keep an eye out on your email address that you registered your applications with, because if we reach out for an additional question, it'll be via email.
Okay. Let's see, next question here. As a transfer student, when I'm doing a dual degree, okay, I think trying to make sure I'm answering this question correctly. Sounds like students asking, saying that they are a transfer student going to be a dual degree in a dual degree course of study. How much eligibility will they have, or how many semesters of 8 eligibility will they have? Whether you're pursuing 1 degree or 2 degrees as an undergraduate at Boston University, you will be eligible for up to 8 semesters of Boston University scholarship assistance. So if you think that you're going to pursue more than 1 degree, and you want to make sure that you're able to finish your degree within your 8 semesters of BU grant eligibility, I would certainly recommend that you work with an academic advisor as soon as possible when you start, so that you can put a good plan together for taking all the classes that you need to take in order to wrap up both degrees within 8 semesters. Again, once we award and confirm your financial assistance, we are saying that you do have that BU money for up to 8 semesters. But we do ask that you plan for those 8 semesters. So again, please work with your academic advisor if you think it's possible, even possible, you might need to be here for a 9th or 10th semester, so that you can put a good plan together, so you're able to complete within 8 there, or at least if you know you can't complete within 8, you can together a good plan for how you're going to manage your last semester or 2 with the possibility of not having that BU grant there.
Thanks, Ken. Next question we have here is, were there merit scholarships available for transfer students? The answer is yes. However, those decisions were made by the admission office at the time of admission. So students who were selected for merit awards have already been notified. We have a handful of merit awards available for students from certain community colleges who have been high achieving at their schools, and are then awarded a merit offer based on their enrollment there to their transition here at BU. And there's a few other merit awards that we do mention on our website on bu.edu/FinAid. However, all those awards have been distributed. Oh, Ken, we can't hear you.
I apologize.
Okay.
All right, so quick background. My condo association decided to have the landscapers come by, and they're mowing the lawn outside, so I put myself on mute while they're going by my window. I'm sorry, everybody. All right. The question, and it's a good one, I'm glad it was put out here. What is the difference between a subsidized and unsubsidized loans? Great question. Thank you for asking that. So subsidized direct loans, the interest is subsidized by the federal government. So those loans will not accrue interest while a student is attending school. Those loans only begin to accrue interest once those loans go into repayment. That happens 6 months after graduation, or 6 months after the student has left school. This works differently than the unsubsidized direct loans. Unsubsidized direct loans, the interest is not subsidized by the federal government. So interest will accrue on those unsubsidized direct loans while a student is in school. Put in other terms, if a student has a subsidized direct loan and they, for let's say $3,500, and they have the ability to pay off that $3,500 when they graduate, and they do so, that's all they'll have to pay back the federal government. If a student has an unsubsidized federal direct loan for $3,500, they will owe more than $3,500 once they graduate. So it'll be more expensive for them to pay back that loan once they graduate, and then of course once that goes into repayment and interest continues to accrue there. Other than that, those loans are fairly similar. I mean, it is a big difference. In the past several years, the interest for the subsidized and the unsubsidized direct loans have been identical. We don't know what the interest rate is going to be quite yet for the upcoming academic year, but in the past, it's been between 4.5% and 5-ish, 6%. I hope that helps. Thank you for asking that question. Very good one. Thank you.
Next question we see here is, with the rise of tuition, which we mentioned here is about 3.5% each year, do you also increase financial aid offers? So to answer this question, I do need to stipulate that we do have limited funding here at Boston University. And because of that, there are some aid offers for certain populations that we do have rises with tuition through some partnership programs and other special interest groups. But and correct me if I'm wrong, Ken, that transfer students don't have aid offers that increase the tuition.
That's a great question. It really
Yeah.
depends on the kind of financial assistance that you are awarded.
Yeah.
I think it'd be best if you have a question about how your financial assistance may change year over year. Please hit up the assistant director that manages your financial aid award, and they can walk through your specific award step by step and say, okay, this is what may change in the upcoming academic year of this. This aspect could be the same. It's a difficult question to ask in a general audience like this, because different students, whether you're in our transfer population or not, you'll have different kind of awards. So please hit up your assistant director for the best details for that question.
Yes, but either way, scholarship assurance means that institutional gift aid is not going to be reduced as long as you are meeting satisfactory academic progress, meaning that you're keeping your GPA above a 2.0, you're completing 24 credits within an academic year, you're in good standing at the university. Your aid offer is not going to be reduced. But please follow up with us directly so that we can talk about the particulars of your financial aid package, and if it is one that does rise with tuition or not, or what are the variables that might be impacted. Same thing with federal aid, because Pell Grant eligibility and several other federal grants do vary each year depending on the income information that you report.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Jade. Okay, so next question here. Are there ways for transfer students to apply to any BU scholarships? And if we can, where can we apply? The financial assistance that our office works with, need-based financial assistance, you apply for that through our aid application process. So you'll have to complete two different aid applications, the FAFSA application and the CSS profile application. You need to complete both to be considered for any need-based Boston University grant funding. If you have not completed an aid application yet and you would like to apply for financial assistance, I encourage you to visit our website to start that process as soon as possible. We are working with additional financial aid for our transfer population, but like Jade alluded to earlier, our funding, there are limitations, and there is a point in our awarding cycle where we do start to spend out of certain funds. Our deadline, our priority deadline for applying for need-based financial assistance has passed. But again, if you are interested in applying, I would certainly encourage you to do so, or review your application, your eligibility for aid, and award you with the funding that we do currently have available.
Okay, next question is a attendee speaks about their parent retiring this year, and if that's something that can be written in appeal or to wait for next year's FAFSA. You are definitely welcome to talk about it in your appeal for this year. I will caution or kind of just say that it's hard for financial aid offices to take into account an event that hasn't yet happened. So if you are foreseeing that your parent will retire later on in the year and it hasn't happened right now or hasn't already happened, there might be a limited way that we can take that into account, but then we can take that more fully into account in the following academic year or the following semester. So here at BU, we allow students to make an appeal before every semester, not just before the fall semester. So this could be a good circumstance for a mid-year appeal, which is what we refer to when students apply and request additional aid consideration for the spring 2021. And that application will be released in November. And by then, if your parent retires, as you mentioned, You can then document that circumstance at that point and what has been reduced income, and we can then take that into account more fully. So this would be the case also with anything else that other students are facing that they foresee something happening in the change in their financial circumstance at the end of the year. That would be a stronger petition for a mid-year appeal as opposed to an appeal now, but you can still appeal. You should still mention it to us, and we can see if we can address some of that now. If not, you might receive in your response that please reach out to us again in November.
Wonderful. Next question, if I have Mass Health, would I be able to waive BU health insurance? Yeah, that's a great question. And specifically about Mass Health, I'm not sure. I don't know if you have that info or not, Jade. I don't want to speak.
No.
Okay. So the way it works is you can expect to receive a bill for the fall semester in the next couple of months. Typically it's early July. We'll bill for the fall semester, and every student, every undergraduate student will have a charge on that fall semester bill for the BU medical insurance. Everybody up front has that. If you are covered, however, and you would like to have the BU medical insurance cost waived, what you'd want to do then is reach out to Boston University Health Services or Health Services Office and review your medical insurance coverage with them. They're the experts with that, and they'll determine whether or not your current health insurance coverage will apply to life on campus here at BU. I want to say yes to your question. Yes, Mass Health would work on campus. I do not officially know the answer to that question. So again, I don't want to speak out of turn. Once you get that bill, please reach out to BU Health Services, and they'll be able to let you know what you're working with.
Mm-hmm.
While I'm answering this question, I saw one near the bottom here that I'll like to jump on while we're just talking about BU medical insurance. The question is how much it costs. For the current academic year, the BU medical insurance costs $2,466. That amount for the upcoming academic year hasn't been finalized yet, but in the past I've seen it fluctuate between $2,800 and $2,300. So I think it's gonna be pretty close to what we cite right now on our website and on our planning calculator. If you were to go to that website, it does reference that $2,466 amount for this current academic year. It might be a little bit more for the upcoming academic year, but that information has not been released quite yet. So I hope that much helps at least.
Mm-hmm. And to just add to that point, any questions about health insurance coverage, please contact Student Health Services, their website, and they have literature on health insurance plans, what it covers, what it doesn't cover, if you should take it or not, questions that you can ask your current health insurance provider to just make sure that it is transferable. They have all of that on their website. Their website is www.bu.edu/SHS for Student Health Services. So we direct you towards that resource. I am aware that some students who are on public health plans, because of the federal requirement being different than state requirements when it comes to health insurance coverage at a accredited university, that sometimes that doesn't transfer over and students may need to purchase the institutional health insurance plan. But again, they can answer those questions at Student Health Services.
Great.
The next question is again about the BU Scholarship Assurance Guarantee, and if it's 8 semesters applicable for transfers or if that's reduced in any way. Again, it is 8 semesters. We don't reduce it for transfer students. All incoming students to Boston University receive 8 semesters of BU Scholarship Assurance, regardless of the number of credits that you have coming into the institution. What you do need to be mindful of, though, is what has been your federal usage of grants and loans from the Department of Education. So if, let's say that you are a Pell eligible student, so a student who has received the Pell Grant, and you're coming in with sophomore standing, you can only receive the Pell Grant from the federal government for 6 years. And also if you're utilizing direct loans, the aggregate limit for direct loans is $31,000. Correct me if I'm wrong. Again, it's $31,000, the aggregate limit for direct loan borrowing. I thought it was.
For dependent students.
Dependent students. Yes, 31,000 aggregate limit across all institutions that you have attended. So maybe you come in with sophomore standing based on credits, and maybe it does take you an additional, the 8 semesters fully. Your BU gift date is guaranteed, but you could find that on that final year or the second to last year that you've already exhausted your federal aid eligibility, because that is a limit that's set across all institutions, and that goes with you at each school. So if you have any further questions or concerns about that, please make an appointment with us. Talk to us at the open house. It's coming up on May 12th, or if you already booked one for the one that's scheduled for tomorrow, or you can reach out to our office and we can go through your financial aid.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, next question. Can you discuss what an average interest rate might look like with a private loan? I would love to be able to do that. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can say there really is an average interest rate. The way private student loans typically work is they offer an interest rate that is variable. So it could change for most private student loans. It's a variable interest rate, and it could change from year to year. The interest rate that they will offer a student that is approved for a private student loan is largely dependent on the information that a lender would see on an applicant's and co-signers, in most cases, credit reports. So when you're applying for a private student loan, they'll run a credit check. They'll look at the student's credit report. If you're applying with a co-signer, and most students need to apply with a co-signer, they'll be looking at the co-signer student, the co-signer's credit reports as well. They'll look at the credit scores, and they'll look at your credit repayment history. Typically, they want to see that there are no major derogatory issues on a credit report, including charge-offs, wage possession, wage garnishment, repossession, bankruptcy, foreclosure, big items like that. They're also looking to see if there's anything that has been seriously delinquent. Typically, they look at charge-off accounts or accounts that are 90 days or more delinquent. Could be a real sticking point in a private loan application. Once they do that credit review, though, they kind of assign a level of risk to that applicant and to that co-signer. The better your credit scores are, the better your credit history is, the lower the interest rate they'll offer. That's why it's really hard to answer this question. What's the average interest rate? Because I don't know if there really is one. It depends. The interest rate you get is going to depend on your specific financial circumstances. It's going to depend on your credit information. Oftentimes, it might also depend on certain income qualifying factors as well. Some banks look into debt to income ratios, liquidity ratios, net worth figures, when they're doing a deeper dive into whether or not they can qualify a private student loan application. So some lenders are more risk adverse than others. I think the best advice we can give you is to do a little bit of shopping around. A good place to start is our website. The information that we have about the different private lenders is pretty comprehensive, but I want to say it's exhaustive. So there might be some lenders out there that we don't reference on our website that could be a really good fit for a student and for their co-signer. I think, though, that you're not going to really be able to know what you're going to be able to qualify for, what's going to work best for you, until you start doing a little bit of that legwork. And now's a perfect time to do that. You can't apply for a private student loan typically until June, I think, is about the earliest most lenders would accept a private loan application. But now's a great time to do that research and see, okay, what kind of programs are out there? What kind of interest rates may I qualify for? And oftentimes, different lenders can give you a range of what they might be able to offer. Lenders can also give you more information about their product. Is there a co-signer release option? That's a big one that I think some students are looking for as well. Again, I'm sorry I couldn't give a very specific answer to that question. It's a really good one. I think the best thing I can do for you now is just give you a little bit of that financial aid homework there. Start checking out your loan options and seeing what you think might work best for you and your co-signers.
Yeah. In terms of range, I would say some of the lowest interest rates I've seen has been 3% for some student loans, and I've seen some as high as 13.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it really depends on your particular circumstance, your cosigner circumstance, if you have a cosigner, their credit history, all the things that Ken discussed. Next question. If the fall semester moved fully online, do I lose work study award? Good question. I think it's a little early for us to have an answer for that. If Ken wants to add anything more to that, but I can tell you what we did for current students, if that can just be just like a perhaps an indicator, maybe. For current students who were working before the campus shut down, we paid out the remaining eligibility they had for work study. So if they were in a work study position and they were earning actively that income by a certain date before we started to close the campus, we paid out the remaining of those funds that they were eligible for. So let's say a student had already earned 500 of their $1,000 eligibility for work study, then we paid out the remaining 500 to the student in a check. What we will do for students in the fall is a question mark right now. That's a bit too early for us to answer. But as soon as we have guidance from senior leadership here at BU and also the Department of Education regarding work study in the fall and how things will happen, we will communicate that to students.
Yeah, I think that's the best that we can really say right now. We don't know what we don't know about the fall semester. Right now, the university, we're making plans to be open in the fall. But, I think you all know that the situation is very fluid. And once we do get any updates, if, plans, if we're not open in the fall, you will all find out as soon as possible. And if that has any implications to the financial aid award that we have offered, again, you'll find out about that as soon as possible too. I'm sorry we don't have a more specific answer for that right now though. Next question, does tuition cost more if I want to minor in something? I'm glad you asked. Not as such per se. All students that are undergraduates are charged the same tuition amount if you're enrolled as a full-time student between 12 credits and 18 credits. So if you're enrolled in 12 credits or 18 credits or 13 credits or 16 credits, between 12 and 18 credits, you will be charged the same full-time tuition amount. If you decide to, what we say, overload and enroll in more than 18 credits per semester, you'll begin to be charged a course overload fee at the per credit rate. So if you are enrolled in, say, 19 credits, you'll be charged for the standard full-time tuition plus an additional I think it's a little bit more than $1,700, $1,800, whatever the cost per credit will be for the upcoming academic year. Your decision to minor in something might mean that you'll have to do some overloading in a semester or two, and that might mean that you will be charged over and above the standard full-time tuition rate. All that being said, I think it's probably helpful to know that some students are able to get course overload fee waivers. If you are enrolled in more than 18 credits and you're hitting certain academic requirements, if you are meeting certain GPA requirements, you may be able to qualify for a waiver of that course overload fee from the specific school on campus that you're enrolled in. I hope that helps.
As like an anecdote, I've seen some students double major and minor and make it happen within 8 semesters. I don't know how those students sleep, but I've seen some students do that and really just pack it all in there. But I think, especially if you are a student that is really high achieving and able to qualify for that waiver of the overload fee, I've seen some students really thicken up their resume while they're here at Boston University. Next question. Extra fees, they're listed on the cost of attendance breakdown. If books are part of tuition payment or if that's something that's paid directly. So happy to answer this. And I think it might be helpful if I go back in my presentation. So let me see if I can do that. Yeah, okay, this can work. So when it comes to your billed expenses, what the university directly bills to you is tuition and fees. And if you are living on campus and utilizing a meal plan, the room and board is billed to you. And if you're commuting from home or if you are living off campus apartment, we obviously wouldn't assess room and board charges to your account. The other expenses, which we discussed in the cost of attendance, those are things that the university does not bill you for, but that we have created an allowance for in case you need additional financial aid to cover those expenses. So books, for example, it's not billed by the university. You would be responsible for purchasing them. So let's say you are, we average that students will spend about $1,000 per year in academic supplies, including books. Let's say that you are deciding with your family that you want to pursue a credit-based loan to help you with part of your financing plan, that the total cost of attendance, having the cost of books and travel and other things as an allowance, allows you to then be able to receive more aid than just what is billed to you by the university. So that then you can then request a refund on that and use that money to then pay for those other expenses that are not billed directly to you. I hope that makes sense. If there is a more clear way to explain it, I can try again, or if you have a different way of explaining it. But if you have additional questions about out-of-pocket expenses and what we estimate and what that looks like, feel free to give us a call at our main phone number. Our website is bu.edu/finaid. Our main number is 617-353-2965. And we have a team of enrollment service advisors that can go through cost of attendance and those figures with you.
Wonderful. Okay, let's see.
We've got time for maybe 2 more questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got a question here about outside scholarships, and I think this one is super helpful question. I'd like to answer this one. If a student is offered an outside scholarship, will BU reduce their financial assistance? Great question. I think the answer is it depends. It depends on your eligibility for need-based financial assistance, and it also depends on how much need-based financial assistance you've already received from BU, and it depends on the amount of that outside scholarship. I think the best thing I can say to answer this question is if you find out that you are going to receive outside scholarships, please let our office know as soon as possible. Reach out to us, let us know how much you're getting. If you have any documentation from that awarding agency, please include that in your correspondence as well. And we will let you know if we can incorporate that without any changes, or if we think there might be some adjustments that we need to make. We always strive for maintaining as much of the original award as possible. If we do have to decrease any aspect of your award, we start with what we call the self-help funds. That includes your subsidized federal loan and or work study funding. Usually there's ways that we can work with you to mitigate any kind of reduction in aid or prevent that if you do anticipate receiving a handful of outside scholarships or some very large ones. But it works differently for different students. And again, the best thing I can say to answer this question is reach out to us, let us know what you're working with as soon as possible, and then we'll let you know what you can expect from us and how that outside award will kind of fit in or impact everything.
Great, thank you, Ken. And I'm just jumping around a little bit since we have only a little bit more time left. So if we don't get to all your answers, I apologize, but we want to make sure that we keep to our end time. And you can also follow up with us any questions that you may have at our email address, which is finaid@bu.edu, finaid@bu.edu. Let's see. So I'll end with this question. For studying abroad, is it the same tuition and financial aid? Great question. So if you do want to pursue a study abroad experience, as long as the program is a BU sponsored program during the fall or spring semester, you can have your financial aid be applied to that program. There are a few limitations depending on if you have a scholarship that's restricted to, that has certain restrictions. So that's why we ask that all students make an appointment the semester before they're thinking about going abroad with the financial aid office so that we can go through your specific details, because some students have aid offers and scholarships that have specific requirements that we need to make sure that we go over. But in general, any aid offer that you have, so that's loans, scholarships, grants, will go with you, with the exception of work study, because work study is supposed to be for on-campus work, so that can't go with you abroad. And some programs are significantly less than a semester at BU. So in that case, sometimes we have to make some adjustments to aid offers, but those aren't necessarily the standard thing that happens. So that's why we ask that all students a semester before they wish to go abroad, that they meet with us. So if you're thinking about going abroad in the spring semester, you want to meet with us in the fall semester, so that you can have enough time to look at your plans for which study abroad program you want to do. You can go through each of the costs for each program with us. At that point, you'll be an enrolled student, and enrolled students have access to this portal called Handshake, where they can make appointments with us directly. So it's much easier than coming to this webinar. You log in and you self-schedule an appointment with your assistant director. So if your last name happened to be the last two letters CM to GO, and I am the manager of your aid award, you would go into Handshake and you'd see schedule an appointment with Jade Franco. And then I would pop up and talk to you at the appointment time that you requested. So I think, yeah, that's all the time we have, because we were supposed to end at 6. So thank you all for the questions that you have submitted. And we really appreciate you all being here. I'm sorry that we couldn't get to every single question, but it looks like we answered 27 questions according to this thing right here. Again, if you have any more information, any more questions about your financial aid package, our website is bu.edu/finaid, FINAID. Our email address is finaid, FINAID, @bu.edu, and our main phone number is 617-353-2965. So feel free to reach out that way. If you are scheduled for an open house meeting tomorrow, we'll see you on there. And we have another one coming up on May 12th. So if you haven't registered for that and you would like to speak one-on-one with one of us, you can register through your MyBU portal. So thank you again and have a good evening.
All right.